I rushed from the studio to this place. I'd like to start by thanking all of you for attending this event. It gladdens my heart to see that the hall is almost filled up. Oftentimes, when you have an event that requires intellection, sometimes people are not interested in showing up. And I hope that this will not be like other book presentations, that people will endeavor to get copies of the book and to read the book. I go on to congratulate members of Reuben, who I've known for quite some time. When I was chairman editorial board of The Guardian, I published many of his articles on the pages of The Guardian. And I'm sure some of those articles will be in this book. I've also had the privilege of taking a look at the book. Indeed, it was on the morning show. I think about 2 months ago. At that time, the book had just come out, and he told me that the presentation would be in May. Now, I don't know how he finds the energy, but first, let's talk about his example. This is a man who has been a journalist, he's been in banking, he's been in insurance, but I guess in retirement, well, he's not retired. He has chosen to produce books. The book today is one in a line of, bibliography that he has produced. He wrote a book titled Becoming the President of Nigeria, a Citizen Guide. He wrote a book, Beyond Loss and Grief, which tells a sad personal story. And then now there was a book on Abakari, the portrait of a patriot. When that book came out, I was asking him, how did you manage to bring out this book so quickly? And then we have Leading the Streets, the Interventions of a Public Intellectual, which is a collection of his writings between 1999 and 2019, within a period of 10 years, when he managed to produce up to about 1,000 articles. So I think he needs to be commended for his commitment to public affairs. And out of these 1,000 articles, he has selected only just about 77, divided into 7 chapters, which means that there is more from where this has been produced. Now, I've had the privilege of looking at the book, as I said. When we had the interview session with him, one of the questions I asked him is that, yes, this is your book for me. It strikes me as a major statement about what public intellectuals can do, the intelligentsia. Now, the role of the public intellectual, of course, is to provide ideas, to speak truth to power, to guide the governance process. And I had asked him whether indeed public intellectuals make any significant impact. I asked him, does anybody listen to all those things that we write, all those things that we say? And he gave me examples direct from the book that he believes that, some of his interventions influence certain policy decisions. But what we would like to see in Nigeria is for a greater accord, relationship, interface between those who govern and those who think for society. Because you cannot have, a successful society if you don't have a quality current of thought. The emphasis is on a quality current of thought, ideas. Ideas build societies. But part of the experience that we have in Nigeria, is that the people on the governance side, they see the intelligentsia as interlopers. They see them as, meddlesome interlopers, noisemakers, they call them. They say, we don't need what do they know about governance? That's not what is done in other societies. And that's why the point about leading from the streets is important. It shows that you can either be inside, you can be on the street. Intellectual activism enriches society. And this is a product in that regard. It's very well produced. What I find again unique about the book is the method he has adopted here. The book has already reviewed itself. At the end of every part, 7 parts, you have a prominent person who has reviewed the book, who gives his own opinion. You have Dr. Olisa Bakuba, you have His Excellency Chief Olusegun Oshoba, you have Awar Aspanjani, you have, who else is there? Right Reverend Nicholas Oko. You have Dr. Gumi, Ahmad Gumi. You know, all of them offering their opinions after every chapter, making the book very robust. So it's not just the author talking to us from his collection, it's also having other people's views. And then, of course, it's a tripartite interaction. We will also end up having our own views when we read those chapters. What are the issues he has raised? The same eternal issues are the core of the Nigerian national question. Corruption, ethnicity, our relationship with our neighbors, our politics, the electoral process. These are the same problems we have been dealing with. He puts a date, maybe from 1999, till date. Now, on all of those issues, we're still discussing the same issues today, giving us the impression, 2 things. 1, that Nigeria is a perpetual work in progress. And that on many of the issues, whether it's ethnicity or religion or nationality or elections, we seem not to have moved forward. We're locked in a recursive process in this country, whereby we take 1 step forward, we take 2 steps forward. So my fear is that many of the topical eternal issues that have been treated by the author in this book, I hope we will not be surprised if in about 10 years' time, we're still talking about the same issues. So the challenge of the various contributions in this book is about how to move Nigeria forward. And who will do it? Many of the suggestions are contained in the book. How to build a nation. Professor Wole many years ago gave a lecture where he asked the question, when is a nation? Is it when you have a flag, you have a national anthem, or you have a geographical space that is, defined by a nomenclature, say Nigeria? And the argument is that we will have a nation when Nigerians have that sense of commitment, not to their village, not to their religious groups, but to that idea of nationhood. And when Nigerians can say pro patria emri, that it is fit and great for one to be able to die for one's country. Not many people want to die for Nigeria. They are all heading towards the border. And the ones that are inside Nigeria, they are looking after themselves. This is the problem we face. In terms of reaction, one of the things I raised with Magnus Onyebe when he came onto the program, that's the morning show, was his response to me on pages 114 to 116, titled, I think, Jonathan and the Nigerian Youth. When I was a presidential spokesman, I had written a piece titled, The Jonathan They Don't Know. And in that piece, I was complaining about how this social media activism, all kinds of people abusing the president on social media. And I said, look, the President Jonathan was the first internet social media president in Nigeria. It was around the time that he emerged president. It coincided with the, the flowering of the social media phenomenon in Nigeria. So I said, who are these young people who do not have information and who just go, they abuse? Well, that part of my piece has always been quoted here and there, and he took me up on it. And he said, oh, a presidential spokesman should not speak like this. He even went a step further to say, well, it's because Abati abused Nigerian youth. That's why they started clamoring for change, and they were supporting President Buhari and the APC. Well, I don't think my piece, the Jonathan They Don't Know, was the one that caused our loss of the election. I had written another piece at that time that we were dealing at that time with an opposition in Nigeria that was hyperventilating, that was hyperactive, that was hypertensive. I mean, I was there in the arena, and the APC that emerged through a gathering of strange bedfellows, they made things difficult for us. In one day, they could produce 10 rejoinders. If government said something before you knew it, they are all over the place, attacking. And then, of course, they had very strong social media, machinery. Even if I issued a statement, you see they will tear it apart. It can be a very difficult job speaking for a president or speaking for the Nigerian government. Even if I wrote that piece, maybe in a fit of anger, I was trying to say, look, this social media thing, you people have turned it, you have weaponized it for politics and for misinformation.